One of my favorite topics to discuss with my community is the names of the kosher animals and non-kosher animals that we find in the Torah. In this week's parasha, Parshat Re'eh, we have a description of the kosher, non-kosher animals. And there are two names that strike out to me as being very strange. The one is called a rachama, and the other one is called a chasidah. These are two types of birds that are not kosher. The strange thing about these two birds is their names. The Torah does not identify them, and I know that ornithologists have done a lot of work to try to identify these two birds. But for the purpose of our drasha this morning, I'd like to focus on the two names themselves, rachama and chasidah. The word rachama comes from rachmanut, mercy, compassion. And the word chasidah comes from the word chesed, which means kindness. So here we have two birds that embody the character traits that we wish to enjoy ourselves, embody within our personalities. And the Torah says, do not eat these birds, for they are not kosher. So how can it be that something that is called merciful and something that is called kind are values that we don't want to have? Is it possible for kindness and mercy to be dangerous? In the Bible, there's a fascinating story about King Saul. King Saul was tasked with wiping out the nation of Amalek. And when it comes to the king, he holds back. He wants to have a public execution, and he shows some compassion towards the king. The prophet Samuel says to him, if you are compassionate when you should be cruel, you'll be cruel when you should be compassionate. And so it was. Later, when David flees King Saul to save his life, he hides at this Nov, Ir Kohanim, the Nov, the city of the Kohanim. When King Saul finds out about this, he is enraged by this. And instead of finding mercy or for looking for a way in which to save the people of the Kohanim of Nov, he says, you guys have helped aided and abetted the fugitive David. The entire city deserves to die. So Saul was compassionate when he's supposed to be cruel. He now becomes cruel when he should be compassionate. As a parent and as a teacher and as a friend, we all know that sometimes being kind is actually being cruel, and being cruel is actually being kind. When a child is showing bad behavior, if we let it go because we don't want to punish the child because we feel bad for them, in time, that child will start getting away with far more problematic behavior than if we had stepped in and done the intervention at the beginning. So therefore, although rachmanut, kindness or mercy, is important, there's a time and a place. The second point, or our second bird, is called the chasidah. The chasidah is a bird that shows great kindness to its kind. If there's a bird from its own, it will look after it and care for it and do whatever is needed for it. If you're part of its community, the chasidah's community, you are guaranteed that you'll be looked after. Everything is taken care of you. So why would this bird not be called kosher? Explains the rabbis in the Midrash, it is kind, but only to its own. If you're not part of its community, or its bird, the same bird community, bird species, it will leave you and not interested in what you have to do. Says the Torah, chasidah, chesed, kindness, is not an exclusive activity. It's not only for your family or for your direct community or the people it is for a chesed. By definition, kindness extends to all. And if you have a bird, or your kindness is only determined by this particular area, or this particular group, or my friends, then you are not kosher, says the Torah. And I don't want you to have this eat from this bird. And thus the two values of rachem, of mercy, and chesed are, on the one hand, beautiful character traits, but on the other hand, can be used for negativity. And thus the opening lines of this week's parasha state as follows: Re'eh ani noten lifnechem hayom bracha uklala. Behold, look, see, I place before you a blessing and a curse. Hayom, today, could be a blessing and a curse. It depends on what you do. Every character trait is neutral by definition. It's what you use with it. Even beautiful character traits like loving kindness and compassion can be used for good or can be used for not good. Re'eh. Make sure that you see that all your actions bring godliness into this world, not just for you, but for our entire community and the world as a whole. Shabbat Shalom.